What is the limit of possibility? We live in a world governed by rules, by the unwavering laws of physics and biology. Gravity holds us to the ground. Time moves relentlessly forward, and life, once it is gone, does not return. We build our understanding of reality on these certainties. But what if you were to witness a moment that shatters all of it? A moment so profound, so utterly impossible, that it forces you to question everything you thought you knew. The Bible is a book filled with such moments. They are more than just fantastic stories. They are deliberate acts of divine power that rip through the fabric of the ordinary. We call them miracles, but some are so reality-bending, so jaw-dropping in their scale and implication, that they can only be described as truly and utterly shocking. Today, we are counting down the 5 most shocking miracles in the entire Bible. These are not just stories of healing or provision. These are moments where God's power is displayed in ways that leave us speechless, moments that reveal His character and His purpose for humanity. So, prepare to have your understanding of the possible push to its absolute limit. We begin our countdown at number 5, in the heart of the Babylonian Empire, with 3 young men who were faced with an impossible choice: bow to a golden idol or be thrown into a furnace of fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood defiant. Their response to the most powerful king on earth rings with a faith that is almost as shocking as the miracle itself. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, they said, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. But even if He does not, we will not serve your gods. Enraged, the king ordered the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter than usual, so hot that it killed the soldiers who merely approached it. The 3 men were bound and cast into the inferno. From a human perspective, this is a death sentence. Instantaneous, agonizing, and absolute. But as the king peered into the flames, his face turned from rage to sheer terror. He leaps to his feet and cries, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." This isn't just a miracle of survival. It is a miracle of presence. God didn't just keep them from the fire. He joined them in the fire. The shock here is not just that they lived, but that the place of their execution became a place of divine fellowship. From the heart of a furnace, we travel to a battlefield under the scorching sun for our 4th most shocking miracle. Joshua, the leader of Israel, is locked in a desperate battle. His army is winning, but they are running out of one crucial resource: daylight. In a moment of audacious faith, Joshua does something that is almost unthinkable. He doesn't just pray for strength. He doesn't just ask for victory. He lifts his voice not to his generals, but to the cosmos itself, and he commands the sun and the moon to stop in their tracks. He prays, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon." And the Bible tells us the unthinkable happened. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down for about a full day. Let the sheer scale of that sink in. This isn't a localized event. This is an act of cosmic defiance. For the God of the universe to suspend the laws of astronomy, to halt the very rotation of the earth, all in response to the prayer of one person in the heat of battle, is shocking. It reveals a God who is not a distant, passive observer of human affairs. He is a God who is intimately involved, a God who commands the heavens and the earth, and who will literally stop time itself to fulfill His promises to His people. From a battlefield where time itself stood still, we now journey to the edge of a sea, where an entire nation is trapped and facing annihilation. This is our 3rd most shocking miracle, the parting of the Red Sea. Picture the scene. The fledgling nation of Israel, having just escaped centuries of slavery in Egypt, finds itself in an impossible situation. In front of them, the vast, churning waters of the Red Sea. Behind them, the thunder of horse hooves and the glint of sun on bronze. Pharaoh's army, the most lethal military machine on the planet, is closing in for the kill. There is no escape. The sounds of panic and despair fill the air. Their newfound freedom is about to be extinguished in a bloody massacre. This is not a moment for a small, subtle sign. This is a moment that demands a miracle so large, so earth-shattering, that will be remembered for all time. And God delivers. Moses, their leader, stretches his staff out over the water. And then a mighty east wind begins to blow. It howls all night long, and the waters of the sea begin to divide. This is not a gentle tide going out. This is a supernatural separation. The sea is driven back, and the seabed itself becomes dry, dusty ground. The Israelites now stand before a corridor of salvation through the heart of chaos, with a wall of water on their right and a wall of water on their left. They walk through the sea on dry land. The entire nation, men, women, children, and livestock, is delivered from certain death. And when the last Israelite is safe and the Egyptian army is in pursuit within that same corridor, Moses once again stretches out his hand. The walls of water, which had stood as a testament to God's saving power for his people, now collapse, becoming a testament to his justice. The most powerful army in the world is swallowed by the sea. The shock of the Red Sea parting is in its sheer, magnificent scale. It is God declaring to the world that he will stop at nothing to rescue his people, that he can make a way where there is absolutely no way. From a miracle that saved a nation from physical death, we now come to our second, most shocking miracle, one that is intensely personal and confronts the very nature of death itself. We come to a small village called Bethany and to a tomb. A man named Lazarus, a dear friend of Jesus, has died. And he has not just died. He has been in the tomb for 4 days. In the hot climate of the Middle East, this is an important detail. Decay has already begun. All hope is extinguished. His sisters, Mary and Martha, are consumed by grief. When Jesus finally arrives, Martha says to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." It is a statement of faith, but also of heartbreak. The moment for a miracle seems to have passed. Jesus goes to the tomb, and the scripture tells us something remarkable. He is deeply moved, and he weeps. He feels the pain, the sting, the tragedy of death. He orders the stone to be rolled away from the entrance of the tomb. Martha, ever the practical one, protests, "But, Lord, by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." She is saying it's too late. It is irreversibly, biologically, and final. And it is into this moment of utter finality that Jesus speaks with a voice that commands not just the living, but the dead. He doesn't whisper a long, elaborate prayer. He cries out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And then the impossible. The man who was dead, the man whose body had already begun to decay, walks out of the tomb, still wrapped in his grave clothes. The crowd is stunned into silence, then erupts in terror and awe. This is not a resuscitation. This is a resurrection. Jesus has just reversed death itself. The shock here is the absolute authority on display. It is Jesus looking the final, undefeated enemy of humanity in the eye and commanding it to release its captive. It is a preview, a thundering declaration of the power he would soon use to conquer death once and for all. The raising of Lazarus shows that God's power isn't just cosmic or national. It is intimately personal, powerful enough to step into our deepest moments of loss and speak a word of impossible life. But to conquer death for another is one thing. To conquer it for yourself, that changes everything. And so, we arrive at the number one most shocking miracle in the Bible. A moment that stands as the absolute center point of all of human history. To understand its shock, we must first understand the depths of its despair. A man, Jesus Christ, after a life of teaching and healing, had been brutally executed. This wasn't a quiet death. It was a public spectacle of Roman torture, designed to extinguish not just a life, but a movement. His followers, who had believed him to be the Messiah, the Savior King, were now scattered and terrified. Their hope was dead. Their leader was buried in a borrowed tomb. A massive stone rolled over its entrance, and a detachment of Roman soldiers stood guard to make sure there were no tricks. It was over. The story had ended in the most final way imaginable. But on the third day, a group of women went to the tomb at dawn, carrying spices to anoint a dead body. What they found was not a somber scene of mourning, but the scene of a cosmic crime. The stone, which would have taken several strong men to move, was rolled away. The Roman guards were gone, and the tomb was empty. Their first reaction was not joy, but fear and confusion. They thought someone had stolen the body. But then, an angel appeared with a message that would change the world. Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen. An empty tomb is shocking, but the story doesn't end there. Because over the next 40 days, Jesus began to appear to his followers. And this was not a ghostly apparition or a mass hallucination. He appeared to Mary Magdalene in the garden. He walked with 2 disciples on the road to Emmaus. He appeared to his disciples huddled in a locked room. And to Thomas, he offered his wounded hands and side to be touched. He ate fish with them on a beach. He appeared to over 500 people at one time. This was a physical, tangible, bodily resurrection. The man they had watched die was now alive again, not as a resuscitated corpse like Lazarus, but as a glorified, resurrected being, the first fruits of a new creation. This is the most shocking miracle of all time because it is the linchpin of everything. It is the ultimate validation of every claim Jesus ever made. If Jesus did not rise from the dead, then, as the Apostle Paul himself wrote, the Christian faith is useless, and its followers are to be pitied more than anyone. But if he did rise, it means everything he said is true. It is the ultimate, shocking declaration that death is not the end. It is the final, crushing defeat of the grave, the ultimate victory over sin and evil. The resurrection is not just a miracle in the story, it is the story. It is God's great exclamation point, the moment he proved that his love is stronger than our sin, and his life is stronger than our death. So what do we do with these 5 shocking moments? The furnace, the sun, the sea, the tomb of Lazarus, and the empty tomb of Jesus. They're not just meant to amaze us. They are windows, each one giving us a glimpse into the very heart and power of God. They show us a God who is present with us in our fiery trials, who commands the cosmos for his purposes, who carves a path of salvation where there is no path, and who holds the ultimate authority over life and death. The most shocking truth of all is that this God, the God of the impossible, is not a distant force. He is a personal God who stepped into our history, who laid down his life, and who conquered the grave, all to offer us a new beginning. The power that rolled the stone away from that tomb is the same power that can bring hope to your darkest situation and life to your deepest places of despair. If this journey through the impossible has inspired you, please give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. Join us as we continue to explore the most powerful truths ever told and discover the God who is still in the business of doing the impossible.